tiro el callejón, pues que sea que se escondió. Asoma el melón y se dé cuenta quién llegó. Se llama John David.
Alright, let's see what we have today on the Idaho 4 and Bryan Kohberger case. Let's see what we got here. Is he live? Is he live? Big shout out to lawyers that you know. Big shout out to lawyers you know. Big shout out to lawyers you know. It hit different when we send shout outs to Pedro. Big shout out to you, Pedro. Big shout out to Peter. Lawyers you know. That was 7 days ago. You got anything new today? Let's see what Peter got to say.
What's up, everybody? And welcome back. We're at it again this afternoon. More stuff happening. We were going to talk about just the potentially planted DNA evidence, or at least allegations of such, in the Kohberger case. And then the alibi notice was filed. It was actually filed yesterday, July 24th, which was the deadline. So we're going to look at that and discuss that. That's actually very, very,
you know what?
a lot of different things you can take and learn from that alibi filing.
I don't think y'all be able to hear it.
But first, it's going to be what's up, everybody? And welcome back. We're at it again this afternoon. More stuff happening. We were going to talk about
Can y'all hear him?
The potentially planted DNA evidence, or at least allegations of such, in the Kohberger case. And then
you hear it?
The alibi notice was
Big shout out to Jackie.
What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? And welcome back. We're at it again this afternoon. More stuff happening. We were going to talk about just the potentially planted DNA evidence, or at least allegations of such, in the Kohberger case. And then the alibi notice was filed. It was actually filed yesterday, July 24th, which was the deadline. So we're going to look at that and discuss that. That's actually very, very interesting, and a lot of different things you can take and learn from that alibi filing. So we're going to get to that. But first, it's going to be the DNA evidence, the allegations of it being planted. I want to answer your questions there. I want to go through what you think about it, because it's really going to come down to a lot that we still don't know, but whether or not it is potentially material to the defense. And that's really what I think is really important about this discussion. So before we jump in, hit that like button. So anybody else that's out there that's waiting on this video, it'll pop up on their homepage on YouTube so they can come and join us as well. So we can kind of talk through these two major Kohberger issues together. Oh, and then at the very end of the video, for anybody that wants to stick around, we are going to announce the winners of all of those 250K subscriber giveaways. I've got a full list of everyone's name that won. So if you want to stick around, if you tried to win any of those if you're a subscriber, then you had a chance to win. So let's get to it here.
Big shout out to Jackie.
Where did we even get to this potentially planted DNA evidence? Well, it's been referenced in some of the filings, so I want to bring one of them up. This is the reply in support of the motion for protective order. The state trying to protect or stop Kohberger from getting some of this DNA evidence, specifically the IGG information and how they built the family tree and how they got to Kohberger with the DNA. So let's read this paragraph first to start. As best the state can tell, the defendant is not asserting that B or C apply to the IGG information, and B or C reference above. This is the only way they can get the information. A is are material to the preparation of the defense. That's the big question we're trying to answer. B and C are intended for use by the prosecutor as evidence at trial. It seems like they're not asserting that, and even if they were, the prosecutor is saying categorically that is not true. Or C was obtained from the defendant or belonged to the defendant. It doesn't seem like they're asserting that either. I would agree with the prosecutor. The main argument for the defense is that this is, in fact, material to the defense. Therefore, presumably, then, the defendant was attempting to show how the IGG information is material to the preparation of his defense when he asserted that someone other than the defendant may have placed his DNA on the K-bar knife sheath. So just that statement alone, which they cite the actual objection there. Someone else may have placed the DNA there. We know it's touch DNA. We know it can be transferred from person to person or object to object. We know that Bryan Kohberger went to a nearby school. We know that he is in school even though he is older. We know that this is a party house. We know a lot of people in and out, okay? So with all of that, I don't think that it is out of left field for the defense to argue that the DNA got there some other way than Bryan Kohberger. So the word placed, I think, has a certain intent behind it, but I can place something down or accidentally place something somewhere, so it still could potentially be an accident. All right, and that is referencing their actual objection at page 4. So that to me doesn't have necessarily a nefarious implication that the touch DNA could have gotten there some other way than Bryan Kohberger, which is true, it could have. Not saying it did, but it could have. But the state is at a loss as to how that theory supports a claim that the IGG information is material to the preparation of his defense. The SNP profile used in the IGG was created from the same DNA used for the STR analysis, and the state is providing the SNP profile and information related to the STR analysis and discovery. So it's like, it's all the same, Judge. Well, if it's all the same, why aren't you producing this? Because it's not all the same. If the defendant, and then here's the last sentence, if the defendant wishes to explore the theory that his DNA was planted on the K-bar knife sheath, he is free to do so. But the family tree created by the FBI has no relevance to that theory. So I have a lot of thoughts on this. First off, DNA planted. They didn't reference specifically where Kohberger's team said that, but they do mention that this may be